I welcome you all the participants for the third day of this legal framework webinar. Before to go into the topic, I will just give a brief overview. So, along with Prakash, we are having the Marine Molecular Ecology Laboratory in the Center for Climate Change Studies and Sathyabama Marine Research Station uh, in uh, in Sathyabama Institute of Science and Technology, Chennai. So we have been studying the marine organism, marine and the coastal biodiversity, or the marine and the coastal organisms, which includes the microorganisms to seaweed to fishes and crustaceans using integrative taxonomic approaches. And we have also been investigating how these organisms will respond to predicted climate change conditions in the future oceans. Apart from the research work, we have been actively engaged in imparting the skills through various hands-on training, as well as arranging the lecture series on marine biodiversity and climate change, as well as molecular taxonomy, DNA barcoding, next generation sequencing data analysis, and real-time qPCR data analysis. So this is what we do in the center. And now let us come back to the topic, that is the patent and the microorganism. So the outline of the talk involves the two major parts. First is what is patent, a brief history of the patent in India, and what can or cannot be patented. And then we will see in the second part that what is the scenario of the patent for for the microorganisms. What are the major questions? What is the history of patent based on microorganisms? Some famous case studies. And in the end, we will see that what is the procedure for filing the patent. Prakash, can you listen me?
Hello? Yeah, it's working. You can go ahead.
Yeah. So if you can add the participant, because
Yes. Yeah, I'll be doing.
Slides are getting jammed because of that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, fine. So let us go back to the topic. The word patent, which is originating from the Latin word, which basically means to lay open. It means to make available the research to the public inspection. And it is so patent can be also seen as an intellectual property right relating to the invention, and is a grant of exclusive rights for a limited period of time provided by government in exchange of full disclosure of invention, and that can help in excluding others from using or making or selling or importing the patented product or the process. So basically, it gives you a monopoly right, or you can also understand in a way as exclusive right, to exploit the invention subjected to the provision of Patent Act 1970 for a limited period. So basically what it means is that it is giving you a monopoly right, so that you can use your invention for the betterment of the human mankind, or for the industrial purposes. And but it has to be subjected to the provision of the Patent Act 1970, which we will be seeing in couple of slides later. And also the patent is for the limited period of time, so it is not for the lifetime. And patent rights are also territorial in nature. By this word we mean that it is like country specific patents are there, and there is no such thing called as worldwide patent. So one country, if you are obtaining a patent in one country, it cannot be enforced in the other countries. And basically the whole aim is to protect from the unlicensed users. So we will look into the brief history of the Indian patent system. Because of this waiting room, I am unable to put my slides in a running condition. Just a moment. Okay, so we will look into the brief history of the Indian patent system. The foundation of the Indian patent system was laid back in the British colonial time in 1856, which was subsequently modified in the several times before independence. At the time of independent India, we inherited the Patent and the Design Act, which was published in 1911 from the at the time of the British colony, and which provided the protection to all the inventions except the invention related to the atomic energy. However, soon after independence, it was realized that there is a change in the society, there is a change in the economy, so there is a need to change the Patent Act also, which can help in promoting the stage of development of our country. And in the 1958, Justice Rajagopal Iyengar Committee was formed to upgrade the Patent Act. However, it took another 12 years before the act was finally passed. Did the resolution in 1970 as the Patent Act, which is enforced even now. However, in 1995, India becomes a member of World Trade Organization, and as a result, it required to comply with the trades related aspects of the intellectual property systems agreement, that is also called as TRIPS agreement. And to comply with that, there was need to do some amendment in the already existing the Patent Act of 1970. So three major amendments has happened in 1999, 2002, and 2005, and which actually changed in order to comply with the TRIPS agreement. In the concerning the microorganism, in 2002 amendment, there was an inclusion of the patent for the microorganism, which we will be again seeing in couple of slides later. However, what is important to understand is that in 2002, the amendment also added explanation to the chemical processes that included the biochemical, biotechnological, and the microbiological processes. So it is important to understand that the Patent Act of 1970 was amended in 2002, and that includes most of the microorganism related patenting rights in the Indian patent. So here is the information from the Indian Patent Office of India about the organizational status of the various intellectual property rights possible in the according to the Indian Patent Act. We'll be just focusing on the Patent Office, which is headquartered in Kolkata, as well as there are three different centers, one in Delhi, Chennai, and Mumbai. Once we have seen that what is the organizational status and what is the Patent Act of 1970, it is important to understand what can be patented and what cannot be patented. And to do that, it is important to see that or important to understand what is called as patent. So patent for any invention is granted under the Patent Act 1970. So one important term to understand here is invention. And invention, according to the definition in 2002 amendment, means a new product or process which involves an inventive steps and capable of industrial applications. So basically three terms again arise from the definition. One is that new product, that is new or novel. So it means that any invention or the technology which has not been anticipated by publication in any document, or it means that there is no information in any public domain. So that is new or novel. Now, the second term, the definition of invention here means involving an inventive steps. So inventive steps is the technical advances or having the economical significance or both. So it means that any invention, it has to be novel. It means that there should not be any prior information existing in the public domain. It has to have the inventive steps. It means that there must be some technical advances or having the economical significance or having both. And third, and the most important term is capable of industrial application. So it means that your invention should be novel. It should involve some of the technical advances or having the economical significance, and at the same time capable of being made or used in the industry. Any invention which is new, having the inventive steps and capable of industrial application can be patented. And the patentable subject matter uh, are uh, are mostly four. One is the process, so process can be patented. The process of the method can be patented. A final instrument or the machines can be patented. A manufactured article can be patented, or any new composition, for example, chemical synthesis, chemical composition can be patented. So these are the terms which says that what can be patented, and now that we will see that what cannot be patented. Under the section 3 and 4 of the Indian Patent Act 1970, there are 16 exclusions, which is listed here. For example, if you are going and saying that I have a theory which is against the Newton's law, which is a universal law, so that cannot be patented. If you are just contradicting any natural law, or if you are just making any discovery or formulating a theory on the theoretical background or just on the principle, which cannot be proven or which cannot have the like product, then that cannot be patented. However, among all the exclusion point, one important point related to this particular webinar is plant and animal as a whole or part thereof other than microorganism. So this exclusion means that plant and the animals as a whole or part cannot be patented. However, there are seeds or there are other parts which can be patented, but also the microorganism can be patented. So we will see more in detail that what this microorganism is and how it can be patented. But before to go into the microorganism and the patent, it is important to make a distinction that what is discovery and what is innovation or invention. So discovery, it means that it's add to the amount of human knowledge by disclosing something already existent. So it means that if you are making any discovery by looking which is already existent in the environment or in the nature, that is a discovery, and that is not patentable until unless the information which is coming out from the discovery is or the conclusion of the discovery has the material which can be used for a particular process. So until then, the discovery cannot be patented. However, an invention, which it means that an invention is the human knowledge by creating a new product or the process or making any technical advances as compared to the existing knowledge. That is invention and that is patentable. So I hope that the distinction between the discovery and the invention is clear. It means that discovery cannot be patented and invention can be patented. Discovery, if the end product or the conclusion of the discovery is helping in achieving a particular article or a particular process, then can be patented. However, invention can always be patented. So I hope that the distinction is very much clear about the discovery and the invention. Let us go for the microorganism and the patent. In the second slide, I have explained that India, after joining the TRIPS agreement, and it also joined or it also became a part of the Budapest Treaty in 2001, which is actually held by World Intellectual Property Organization, and it means or the Treaty of the Budapest or the Budapest Treaty is a treaty for the international recognition of the deposit of the microorganism for the purpose of patent procedure. And the Budapest Treaty was first launched or first formulated in 1977 in Hungary. However, India became the part of the Budapest Treaty in 2001. And after joining the Budapest Treaty, it was important to comply with the rules of the Budapest Treaty. So the government of India permitted the patenting of microorganism in India under the Patents or the Amendment Bill of 2002. As a result, there are two international depository authority was formed in India. At that time, it was one, that is MTCC, in the CSIR Institute of Microbial Technology in Chandigarh, where you can submit your patentable microorganism. However, later there is another edition of MCC, that is in Pune, in the NCCS campus of University of Pune, that microbial culture collection. So at present we have two international depository authority recognized culture collection center. And why these centers were made? Because if you remember, then in patent it involves disclosing all the information available for getting a patent, and for many organisms it is not possible to give all the necessary details. So in that case it is mandatory for any patent concerning the microorganism to be submitted in IDA approved or international depository authority recognized culture collection center, so that it is given a particular ID and can be actually mm, accessed by the access at the time of validation. So when we say about the microorganism and patent, it it involves it involves several questions, or there are several major debates. First is that what is meant by microorganism. So the definition of microorganism itself is not very much clearly written either in the TRIPS agreement or otherwise in the Indian Patent Act 1970. The second question is that can a microorganism be patented in itself? And if yes, should it be accessible in life form? So microorganism can be patented. Several Western countries has the provision of patenting the isolated microorganism. However, India does not allow that until unless there is any genetical modification happening in the microbes. And yes, it can be accessible through culture collection center approved by international depository authority, that is IDA. Okay, are new applications of pre-existing microbes patentable? Can isolated microorganism that exist in nature patented? Are microorganism products patentable? And are the process of producing microorganism patentable? So there are several major questions which needs to be addressed before to understand that whether the microorganism can be patented or not. And here are some of the questions. Let us go one by one, or basically the first important thing is to define microorganism. So as I said previously, that neither the TRIPS or the Indian patent law explains the term of microorganism or does not give any definition of microorganism. However, conventionally speaking, we can say that microbes are the tiny living things which are invisible to naked eye. And the term microorganism generally includes virus, bacteria, yeast, filamentous fungi, protozoa, unicellular algae, and transformants or vector in the genetic engineering, and also some undeveloped animal and the plant cells or the fused cells. So these are some of the general definition or some of the general categories of the microorganism in a conventional manner. However, if you look into how the European Commission has been seeing the definition of microorganism is, so European Commission directive defined microorganism as a microbiological entity, cellular or non-cellular, capable of replication or transferring the genetic materials. Or one can understand in a way that any biological material as a material containing genetic information and capable of reproducing itself or being reproduced in a biological system. So to sum up, what we can understand is any biological material in a microbiological entity having the genetic material or genetic information and capable of reproducing itself without any support from any other biological system. So that is the meaning, or that is the definition of microorganism taken by the European Commission directives. Now let us come back to Indian scenario. In India, the granting of the patent related to microorganism was started in 2003. And for the first, in the initially, it was considered as a product patent for the period of 5 years from the date of grant. At present, it is for 20 years from the date of filing. So it means that whatever the microorganism, whether it is genetically modified or any product, you can keep it as a patent for 20 years from the date of filing of your patent. And in India, we do not allow patent of microorganism that already exist in the nature. As you can understand that if there is any organism already present in the environment, and if you have found out it, it is called as discovery but not an invention, because there you do not have put your instincts, or like your intellectual intellects. Of course, in cultivating you have put your intellect, but it is already available there, so it can be considered as discovery and not as invention. However, if there is any genetic modification of the organisms, microorganisms are happening, that can be considered as patentable. And as I said previously, that it is mandatory to deposit any genetic modified organism which you are submitting it as, or which you are applying it as for the patent, in the IDA recognized culture collection center. That is either in MTCC Chandigarh or MCC Pune. So these are two of the IDA recognized culture collection center in India, right? Now, as I said, that there is a recombinant microorganism, that the recombinant microorganism can be patented in India. So what is recombinant microorganism? If we see from a molecular biology point of view, then if you are adding any vector DNA after the process of ligation and the cloning into the cell, which can yield a protein product, or which can transform the microorganism for various purposes, that can be patentable. And the patent includes the process, the whole process, as well as the product. Some of the most important patentable microbial products are human insulin, immunoglobulin, vaccines. We have also seen the cases of this BT toxin, that is Bacillus thuringiensis, thuringiensis, this cotton, or several other plant resistant plants, and also the blood clotting factors. So these are some of the recombinant, example of the recombinant DNA, recombinant microorganism, and the process and the product patentable, and some of the products. Now, considering the microorganism and the patent, it is not new. It dates back to more than 200 years back, when the Louis Pasteur was for the first time awarded a patent in the based on the microorganism for a process of fermenting beer using a yeast. So at that time, Louis Pasteur showed that you can ferment, you can increase, or you can increase the process of fermentation by utilizing the yeast, and that was patented in the United States. However, the most famous case concerning the microorganism and the patent is Diamond versus Chakrabarty case. Unfortunately, there was there was a demise of Anand Mohan Chakrabarty this month on 10th of July. At the time of around in the 70s and the 80s, he was working as a genetic engineer in the General Electric company, and there he was involved in developing a bacteria capable of breaking down the crude oil. So basically, because close to 5 to 10 years back, there was major oil spill happened in the coast of the America, and from there he also jumped into the idea of developing the microbes which can be capable of breaking down the crude oil. So GE, that is General Electric, filed the patent listing the Chakrabarty as inventor. However, it was rejected. The claim what Chakrabarty and the General Electric has made, three claims they have made. First is the process for the method of producing bacteria. The inoculum comprises of the carrier material on the water, straw, and the new bacteria, as well as the claim for the bacteria itself. So there were three claims made by GE as well as Chakrabarty for their discovery, which was initially rejected because of the fact that microorganisms were the product of nature and it cannot be patented. However, they appealed the decision, and after some, I think around after two times it was rejected. They went on to the apex court, and there they finally got they finally managed to get the US patent in 1980 1981. According to the apex court verdict, the microorganism is a non-naturally occurring manufacture or the composition of matter and is a product of human in, human intelligence, having a distinctive name, character, and use. So, what Apex Court has seen is that the microorganism which Chakrabarty has made was not available in the nature. The name was new. It means that the whole identity of the microorganism was new, and thus they have accepted the patent, and it was also complying to the several basic criteria. As for example, it has the potential to for the industrial application. It does have the that human intelligence, and thus it was actually accepted. So the patent was granted. Similarly, there was a landmark case in the microorganism and the Indian patent, uh, which was applied by a Swiss company, Dimminaco, and the case was against the controller of patent and design. So Dimminaco, which is a Swiss company, has developed a live attenuated vaccine for the poultry, which was against the bursitis, which is an infectious disease in the poultry. So they have made a live attenuated vaccine and applied for the process patent for its preparation. Initially, the claim was rejected because, according to the Indian Patent Act, the end product should not be living material. It can be any material, but not the living material. And also its procedure of development being only a natural process. So considering these two important aspects, that the product was the end product is a living material, and it is produced with the same natural process, the call was rejected. However, the court went, or the company went to the Calcutta High Court, and there they went into the fight. They went into the legal fight, which is called as this Diminiaco versus Controller of Patent and Design. And Calcutta High Court accepted the process of manufacture as patentable. The reason what Calcutta High Court gave, though the end product is a living material, it cannot be only reason to not grant any patent. Second is the end product is novel and does have the capability for the industrial application, and it is very much useful in preventing the poultry. So as I said in the past, that depending on the definition of the novelty or the patent, the verdict was toward the Swiss company, and the patent was given. So this was two case regarding the microorganism and the patent, which is worldwide known. Uh, After the instance, or after the amendment of microorganism and its product into the Indian Patent Act in 2002, there was an increasing, or there was a trend of the biotechnology. Why I have included biotechnology patent also here? Because many of the patent which involves microbiology does have the biotechnological aspects, and that's why I have plotted with the recent data taken from the annual reports of the Indian Patent Office, or Indian Patent Annual Report. It says that there is a trend of increasing trend from 2012 to 2013 to 2017-18. of granting the patent of the nature of biotechnology and microbiology. If you see, from 27 to 28 microbiology related patent was granted in 2013-14, which has increased to 81 and 90 in 2017 and 2018. So this is a trend of biotechnology and microbiology patent in India. Now, what kind of patent these are? So I have just listed here some of the examples that what kind of patent related to this microorganism is that recombinant microorganism, as we have seen in case of the Chakrabarty and the Diamond versus Chakrabarty case, there also it was a recombinant microorganism, and then that recombinant microorganism was for some biotechnological use. In the case of Chakrabarty, it was used for the crude oil degradation. Here, in this case, which was filed by CSIR, no, this is not the case of CSIR, it's in the next slide. In this particular example, recombinant microorganism was made to synthesize the acetyl coenzyme A and acetyl coenzyme A derivative product without or eliminating the lactate production. Since the production of lactate can cause the stress to the bacterium itself and then can slow down the synthesis of acetyl coenzyme A, this particular microorganism, recombinant microorganism, where do have the product or synthesis of the acetyl coenzyme A and the derivatives, but with a very minimal lactate production. So this kind of microorganism based patents are there in the the recent years. The another one is another example of microbial based decolorization, which was filed from NIO Goa, National Institute of Oceanography, where they have used fungi for decolorizing the colored effluents coming out from the textile industry. In the third example, you can see, I will just try to use the annotation if it is working. Yeah. So in the third example, you can see that the removal of heavy metal was accomplished by using the actinomycetes. So again, this was a patent from CSIR lab. So these kind of microorganism-based patents are getting increased year after year in the India as well as in the different countries' patent offices. Now, when we say microbial-based or microorganism-based patent, it not only includes the product and the process, but also the microbial technologies. Microbial technologies. So we know that microbial technologies have an immense role in the development of the molecular biology tool and the disease diagnosis, in treating, or in the fundamental life science, we can say. One such example is CRISPR. So if in most of the well-designed CRISPR is having two components. That is the CRISPR nuclease, for example, Cas9, and then you have the single guide RNA, which is complementary to your genomic target. So what happens in CRISPR also, there are several patents which have been filed in European and the American patent office, and that has an impact because if you patent a process, or if you patent a genome editing system, then that can hamper the academic research as well. So this is that definitely increases the chances or increases the potential of a company who does have the patent regarding these things, but then it stops the other people from using the technology, microbial based technologies for the in the research of molecular biology. Similarly, another example is viral vectors. Since virus can also be patented, as was the case with the avian sarcoma virus, patented by the Stephen Wright for the production of the vaccine. However, if because of this kind of patent, there is a delay in the introduction of vaccines, as was indicated by the Serco et al. 2017, that since the viral vectors are patented, since the viruses are patented, it is difficult to carry out the research to get the vaccines. Such was the case with the delay of the introduction of vaccines for the Ebola and the Zika viruses. So patents do increase the chance or competition in the scientific research, and it provides the ambience to or the technology to develop the scientific research. But at the same time, patent for these kind of basic microbial tool or microbial techniques can somewhat retard the growth in the production of the vaccines for the human welfare. Now we have seen that what patent is. We have seen that what are the rules made for patenting microorganism and microorganism based products. If we consider Indian scenario, then most of researcher, including me and including us, we tends to publish over patent. And the major reason is that there is a lack of awareness about the procedure of the filing or the granting of the patent. Also, in many cases, the publication in a reputed journals gives more visibility among the academic circle, and that actually enhance your pay scale, your promotion, and all those factors. And the third important aspect is patent is a time consuming process, and it also requires money. So people or the researcher who are less aware about the procedure of the patent mostly try to push themselves for the publication rather than for the patent. There is a possibility that once you get a patent, then you can do a good publication. However, if you publish before and then file the patent, it is very much difficult to get the patent because it is already there in the public domain, and that is one of the factor which influences the patent in the Indian scenario. So anyhow, if you go instead of publication and go for patent, there is a whole procedure involved in it. And here I have made a chart that first step is to file an application. Either it can be provisional or it can be complete. If you have made a provisional application, it takes close to 2 months. I mean, you need to complete the application within 2 months. You can make an early publication, or you can make publication after 18 months, because after 18 months of filing the application, you can do the publication. Within 48 months from filing, you have to go for, or you have to request for the uh, examination. Once the examination or the first examination report comes, either you need to revalidate or you need to give the reviewers response within stipulated time of 6 months, which can be extended up to 3 more months. If it is refused, then you can go for appeal. One particular very good example we have seen that in case of Diamond versus Chakrabarty, that after refusal, they went on to appeal, and then at the end they got the patent. If it is grant, then it is grant for close to 20 years. So this is the overall procedure of the patent grant in India. So that's it for today's talk, and yeah, so pretty much